us, I swear, now go with the go so. Yes, men, they kill us every day, for them busy, they campaign again. After they failed all the promises they made, oh, then they praise themselves. Why the masses were supposed to give them the praises we they are they run to? Who be that? I blame it on the religious leaders. I blame it on the traditional rulers. People were supposed to fight for the people, they don't compromise. Shame on the rebellious brothers. People will cry with us during answers. Today them don't join those oppressors, they eat jealous. Something on the smell of. Very soon now we go perceive them. We have up where this government they cause my time bomb. It go soon explode. Revolution they come. It is very close and they feel more. When the power of the people we triumph, the power of the people in power. They no even care, they no even send. Say the people they die of hunger. Hungry dog is an angry dog. One day you go bite the owner. Idle man is the devil workshop. Many youths for Nigeria no good job. And the country the youths got no future. The country is gone, that's on period. Move it up. I blame it on the judiciary leaders. I blame it on the electoral officials. People were supposed to save the nation, but they collected bribe. Shame on the armed forces. People were supposed to protect the masses. One of them they shoot us anytime they hear our voice.
Kiwe wesu garani oria nine nke pụrịta kwasa mmadụ dị ndụ n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye na-agwọ ọrịa ka anyị wee na-akpọkụ gị onwe gị bụ simile nke ndị agha ka igwe mere anyị ebere ka akwa nke anyị na-ebe ka ude nke anyị na-asụ wee bịa n'iru gị ka iwe mee ka Biafra wee guzosi ike ka anyị wee n'ikpete mazụ nye ha sọgụtụta na nsọpụrụ na ịja mma site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi ise mma mma dịrị gị Chineke mma mma dịrị gị
Are you still fighting the struggle to have independence for Biafra?
We are fighting for independence, not fighting physically with guns and bullets. We are fighting in terms of our agitation, we are fighting in terms of our belief, we're fighting in terms of our consistency to ensure that we are free, because we're not free. As a free people, we can afford to make life better for our people. Right now, we can't do that because of how Nigeria is structured and because of the very flawed foundations upon which Nigeria is.
You called for a referendum latest this year, November, you said, I think.
Yes.
If that doesn't happen, what's the way forward? Because the way it looks like the government will definitely not agree to that.
Then there'll be no elections in Biafra land. No more elections here. They can put whoever they like in office. They can do whatever they like with their political positions. we will not engage in any political process.
You said it's a peaceful struggle, but there are some videos of you appearing in the past, especially abroad, in particular in one conference in the US, where you said you need weapons to defend yourself, you need guns and ammunition. How can we understand that in the context that you're saying it's a peaceful struggle?
I'm sure you've heard about the Fulani headsmen killing people all over the place. Have you heard about it? Exactly. So how do you intend to defend yourself against Fulani headsmen without guns and bullets? They'll be killing our people, raping our women, destroying crops in the farms, and no one does anything about it. Is that how human beings are supposed to live?
So, and you have the right to arm yourself and defend yourself with arms in that context?
Self-defense is recognized even by all the known laws of the UN. Is that not correct? We have the right. If somebody were to barge into this very interview and are wielding a machete or an AK-47, are you suggesting we should let them get away with it?
You were detained for almost 2 years, from 2015 on, and actually there was no trial. No trial ever happened, and despite several court rulings that said you were supposed to be released, you were not released.
Yes.
Do you think you were treated in a fair way by the government? Or rather also by the justice system?
No, not fairly, because Nigeria is not a civilized country. People behave like animals. They are not reasonable enough. They're not disciplined enough. They are not mentally developed enough to run a transparent civil society. For them, they have a feudal mindset where you have the ruling class and, a multitude of poverty-stricken people who never utters any word in rebellion or to even ask questions about their plight. That is one thing we are determined to challenge.
Don't you think you insult a lot of Nigerians with that?
I'm being very kind, to be honest. I could have used far more harsher words to describe them. I'm being very kind.
So generally you don't think very positive of your countrymen then, obviously?
They are not... When you say positive, no, as individuals, perhaps there are a few good people amongst them. But as a collective, this is an absolute mess. And you can see for yourself. Didn't you go through the roads and see how horrible they are? Didn't you see how unkempt everywhere is? How filthy and dirty everywhere is? That is the product of a Nigerian system that is uniquely backwards, even by the very third world standards of Black Africa. That's the fact, and people must face up to it.
Well, I traveled in the north quite extensively, and I went to very remote areas sometimes where you would still find Igbo people living there, peaceful together with communities in the north. Don't you sometimes think that you might endanger their peaceful coexistence with the communities there, that they might get into trouble with that?
So if they're living so peacefully together, or cohabiting so peacefully as you put it, how come you hear about all those uprisings in the north where southern Christians are being slaughtered and nothing gets done about it? Are you telling me that that is normal? People are in the north out of a dire need, necessity more or less, to try and survive. Because here, the entire production process has been emasculated by people and policies that are geared towards ensuring that our people exist in perpetual state of poverty. And that is unacceptable to us. What we're asking the world to recognize is that we want to live in peace, not in pieces. We want to live in peace, just to allow us to be. Allow Biafra to exist. We were existing before the British came. Just allow us to go back to, what we were before. No African came to Europe to create countries. So for somebody to just come in here and say, you, from today, your name is Nigeria, is simply laughable.
Welcome. Thank you for joining me on this very evening section. I appreciate everyone that has connected to the program. Wherever you are connecting from, I thank you for being part of the program. I appreciate you, and I say, may Chukwu Kabiam continue to guide and protect everyone that have joined us. We have come again this evening to have a very quick one. It's going to be a very quick one. We're not going to take much of your time. So as you join us, you like the program, share to our platform, share to family and friends, share to everyone that is close to you. We must continue to share this information to get to those who need to hear us. So as you connect to this evening program, like and share. Remember, in this platform, we do not come here to instigate violence. We don't come to this platform to preach hate. We do not come to this platform to attack people or individuals. We don't come here to attack any group. What we do in this platform is to promote the cause of Biafra, present Biafra to the world as the only remedy to the failed state Nigeria. That is what we stand for. And for those who want to join us on today's program, you can join us because we are going to be as quick as we can. We spend a lot of time in the morning, almost 6 hours in our morning program. So this evening, we are going to cut it as short as we can. Just a briefing, and then we can be able to round up. So anybody that wants to join me on stage can do that as quick as possible. Every one of us have seen the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu went on today. He was in the court today again, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And as he came to court, he stood for himself and he spoke for himself, which we have also given the briefing when we were doing the morning program. And the briefing is very, very clear to everyone that following the event. We saw what transpired. There is nothing that is kind of new from what we saw. What we saw there is the same thing we have been hammering all along, the same thing we have been talking about. That is what we saw. The intimidation of the court, the wickedness, the atrocities of the court. And as we all know, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have chosen to stand for himself. And within today also, we had that Ijimarko and other protesters who were arrested were released. But surprisingly, as they were released, Omoyole Sowore, our beloved brother, was arrested again. He was taken again from the court. As soon as he was released, they say they came with their armor tank and all whatnot. You can imagine that. You can imagine how evil the Zoological Republic is. When we say that that country is not supposed to be, some people think we are overreacting. We are not overreacting. When you see the things that are happening in that contraction Nigeria, you can never wish it to survive the next minute. Nobody will see what is happening in Nigeria and you still wish Nigeria to live, to survive the next minute. Because the atrocities that is going on is so much. It's so much, it's disturbing and it is troubling. So wherever you are as a Biafran today, we must continue to pray for our beloved brother Omoyole Sowore and also to continue to demand for his release. He has not committed any crime. All he did was to protest for humanity, protest for justice. The same justice he has been asking for every time, ask for justice for everyone. But they always attack him whenever he speaks up for justice. So today, they rearrested him again. Immediately after he was granted bail in the court, he came out. The next minute, he was rearrested again with their armor tank. And I heard that they injured him. In the process, they handled him and they injured him. So we have to continue to put this information forward and continue to demand for his unconditional and immediate release. Because Sowore has not done anything wrong than to stand up for justice, to stand up for the truth. That is the only thing Sowore has done wrong. And in Nigeria, you know that those who are standing for justice are the ones that are persecuted. People they celebrate in Nigeria are criminals. If you want Nigeria to celebrate you, you must be a hardened criminal. And we see them every day, those criminals being celebrated, just the way they are celebrating the bandits. You see them giving handshake to bandits. You see them celebrating bandits here, right, left, and center. You see them conducting anything they want to do, and they don't care. You see them attacking protesters in the public without minding. So these things are what Nigeria is made up of. Criminals, bunch of lawless people from the presidency to the last. These are all lawless people. And that is why we say we cannot continue with this. Cannot continue this. Because everyone that has a support on hand in Nigeria undoubtedly is supporting terrorism. Is an evil person. There is no two ways about it. You can pretend about it. You can continue to dodge this information, but that is the truth. That is the truth. So every one of us should continue to speak up from wherever they are. And people are already speaking up. Dua People's Congress condemn police rearrest of Showore, says action is military era tyranny. You see, people are condemning it from right, left, and center. The Ududua Congress have already condemned it. Ududua People's Congress, they condemned it. But in our own, did you see Ohanes and Debo condemn the arrest of our own people? They keep quiet. They don't care. As long as it has nothing to do with them, as long as the federal government will be sending them their stipend, they don't care. It is so pathetic. We will see these things happen on a daily basis, and some people still believe that Nigeria will work for them. I really do not understand how it's going to work. I don't understand. You can imagine what happened in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the way they are turning him right, left, and center. He had gotten to the extent that he lost his patience. They go ahead and arrest his own lawyer that is standing for him. What do you expect? And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu decided to take charge of his case. And you can see now in taking charge of his case, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a bold man. He is not scared of anybody. And he is willing to call the attention of people and call attention to anybody who is involved. He's going to call your name unapologetically without minding. So everyone who knows what to do and how to do it must continue to stand up for what is right. Nigeria is a criminal nation that does not want any one of us to survive. They don't want to survive. So every single one of us, wherever you are, you must rise up, stand up, and do everything you can do to make sure that we regain our freedom. Lawyer Effion accused police of lying to justify Showore's arrest, say no court order was violated. Exactly. No court order was violated in the first place. No court order was violated because he didn't serve. Just like we have been saying, just like Showore self-explained. But the criminal media of Nigeria will never talk about that issue. The criminal media will never report the fact that that very court order was not served. It was not served. When you did not serve the court order, what do you expect? Workers group SNWR condemned rearrest of Showore, says Tinubu government violation rules of law. Everybody is condemning it. Amnesty International condemned Nigerian police over repeated assault on Showore, other protesters. Yeah, everybody's condemning it. Everybody's condemning it. But you see that this government is bent down on Nigeria government. We always do what they want to do and get away with it. That is the funniest thing. Why do they always get away with all these things? Why do they always get away with all these things? We talk and talk and talk. We cry and cry and cry. And at the end of the day, they will commit these atrocities and they get away with it because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Even when we complain online and offline, at the same time, nobody cares. Nobody does anything. They continue to do what they want to do. They continue to do what they want to do. You see how over 50 police personnel stormed Kuje Court, brutalized Showore, lawyer, food vandals. You see, this is a testimony of somebody who witnessed what was happening. Let's check the testimony, because this issue of Sowore is something that calls for concern. This is a brother that joined us in the pursuit of freedom. He joined us to call for justice for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is the only crime Sowore committed. The only crime Sowore committed is that he joined the Biafran people to demand that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu must. Because of that, that is why today Sowore is executed. Sowore has not committed any crime anywhere known to man. The only crime that he committed is say that you should stop abusing the Igbos. You should stop attacking Igbos. That is the only thing Sowore said. And today, they attack him right, left, and center. They doing everything they can against him, including destroying his personality. They do all manner of things against you. You see what we are seeing? If you look at how over 50 police personnel, you can imagine, just for one man. This is country that they say they don't have enough personnel. The same people that are crying say they don't have enough personnel. Look at it. How over 50 police personnel stormed Kuje Court, brutalized Sowore, lawyers, food vendors. You can imagine. This is what transpired today in the court. You can imagine. Let's see what is written there. Eyewitness told Sahara reporters that more than 50 armed officers surrounded the court premises, mounted roadblocks, and restricted movement while monitoring Sowore's bail hearing, following the arrest of protesters over the recent Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu demonstration. Tension erupted on Friday at the Kuje Magistrate Court in Abuja when heavily armed policemen violently disrupted court proceedings, attacking human rights activist Omoyole Sowore, several lawyers, and even a food vendor in an attempt to rearrest the activists. Eyewitness told Sahara reporters that more than 50 armed officers surrounded the court premises, mounted roadblocks, and restricted movement while monitoring Sowore's bail hearing, following the arrest of protesters over the recent Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu demonstration. You can imagine this cannot happen in the same country, but in Nigeria, in a court premises, the police invaded the court premises. You see how lawless Nigeria is. When we say we want to get out of this madness, people don't understand. According to multiple accounts, COURTROOM broke out immediately after the court granted Sowore bail. Police personnel reportedly acting under the directive of a chief superintendent of police identified as CSP Ilyasu Beru descended on Sowore and those around him, tearing his clothes, imagine, beating him and dragging him on the ground before bundling him into a waiting vehicle. You can imagine what they did to a presidential aspirant, a human rights activist, an innocent man that committed no crime. You can imagine what they did to him. A lawyer who came for a separate case was also beaten and arrested while making a phone call within the court premises. You can imagine. Speaking to journalists after the violent scene, Sowore's lawyer, Barrister Tope Tumiko, who was among those assaulted, condemned the attacks as shameful, discretion of sanctity of the court. You can imagine. This thing is happening in the court premises where you are supposed to get justice. Nigerian government, they carry their injustice into the court. If they can be bold to carry their injustice into the court premises, what else do you think they cannot do? They have no respect for the rule of law. They have no respect for the constitution. And you continue to call yourself one Nigeria. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say anybody that calls himself a Nigerian is lower than a dog. You see why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made that statement? When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say anybody that regards himself as a Nigerian is lower than a dog, this is the reason that the police, the army will invade the court, discredit the court, go into the court and take somebody that was just granted bail, beat the person up against the law. The police were visibly disappointed because the court granted Sowore bail. Temokun said they descended on everyone, lawyers, observers, and even the woman selling food on the court premises. Her table was destroyed, her food scattered, and people were beaten mercilessly. Temokun explained that the magistrate had granted Sowore bail under clear terms: 2 sureties, 500,000 bond, valid tax clearance, and a means of identification, but said the police refused to respect the order. Imagine. The same way they disrespect the order of the court on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu case. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have been freed and they refused. The same thing today they did. Granted Sowore bail in the court. They came to the court, destroyed everything. You can imagine. And some idiots will still regard themselves as Nigerians. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was right. Every time they prove him right, that anybody that claims to be a Nigerian is lower than a dog. When we asked why they were taking Sowore away, the CSP showed us a paper he called a mandate. You can imagine. Who gave them the mandate? Either Wike or Tulubu. It should be Wike or Tulubu gave them a mandate. Give them a mandate to come and take Sowore. When we asked why they were taking Sowore away, the CSP showed us a paper he called a mandate, but refused to display it. We questioned why the police, instead of prison officials, were the ones taking him into custody. Before we could get any explanation, they descended on us again, he recounted. The lawyer said several people sustained injury in the attack, while Sowore was dragged violently into a police vehicle and taken to an undisclosed location. As we speak, we do not know where Sowore has been taken. This is illegality of the highest order. Temokun said, displaying his blood-stained lawyer's gown as proof of the assault. You can imagine. You can imagine. He condemned the incident and called on the Attorney General of the Federation and the Nigerian Bar Association to urgently intervene and hold the police accountable. Of course, this is not the first time. Nigeria is a lawless country, a terrorist country. The government is terrorizing, the military is terrorizing, the police is terrorizing, the politicians, everybody in Nigeria that has Nigerian title that represents Nigeria, it's a terrorist. Look at what they did to Sowore. Bunch of terrorists. They are calling, even the Bar Association, they are terrorists. Nigerian Association of Medical Doctors are terrorists. There is nowhere to run to. Nowhere to run to. The only solution is to get out of the zoo. There is no safety anywhere. Nowhere you can run and be safe. Everywhere is organized, is controlled by terrorists. This is a gross violation of human rights and embarrassment to judiciary, he said. If the magistrate had denied bail, that would have been a different issue. But once the court has granted bail in line with the law, the police have no right to interfere. Temokun warned that continued police disregard for judicial authority could destroy Nigerian confidence in the justice system. It has already destroyed. Only idiots that are still having hope in Nigerian justice system. Only idiots still believe they can get something out of Nigeria. If we allow this continue, Nigeria will lose faith in the judiciary and the court process, he said. It is happening already. Disgraceful abuse of power. That is what he called it. but it's not enough to rant. In the video seen by Sahara reporters, Temoku also addressed Nigeria directly, narrating in detail the events that unfold in the court and condemning what he called a disgraceful abuse of power. People were brought to court because they said they protested against a court order. We are still challenging the priority. We are still challenging the propriety of even the arraignment on the ground. You see, even the arraignment itself is illegal. They are still challenging it. They are still challenging it. It's even illegal. The arraignment is illegal. It's still on the ground. They're still challenging. The challenge is still on the ground. That you said people violated a court order by protesting. He said, we never heard of a constitution in this country, even despite all its defects, designating place where people should protest. If a protest is illegal, it is illegal. If it is not, it is not. You cannot say people can protest in that street, but not in this street. You can imagine. But in Nigeria, everything goes. He continues, the police have masqueraded as law enforcers and blackmailing the defendant that they protested against a court order. But what we witness in the court today is the direct opposite of propaganda they have been selling to the public. You see, in the courts, you hear a different thing, but when they come to media, they push different thing. This is interesting. In the court, the same thing is what they are doing to the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB and Biafra people. They will use their media to blackmail. Did you see that all the media houses were only reporting that the court order, none of them spoke and said that court order was not served. No media house opened their mouth and said that court order was not served. Very shameful. Very shameful. He continued, the police have been masquerading a law enforcer and blackmailing the defendant that they protested against a court order. But what we witness in the court today is the direct opposite of the propaganda they have been selling to the public. The majority of us have already fallen for that propaganda. Exactly. That is how we all feel in Nigeria. People believe propaganda and lies. Already accusing defendant. But what we saw here today was that the magistrate courageously granted bail, which is an order of the court. You see, he gave very liberal bail condition. Too shorty, what 500,000 naira with tax clearance and a means of identification. The police were so disappointed. Some of the senior police officers came to monitor the proceedings themselves. With about 50 police officers present, you can imagine, in a country where terrorists are taking over the street. This is the same Abuja where armed robbers were operating in a house. No police came. This is the same country where a person of Arise TV, one of their workers was killed where she was running for her life. Police could not come after calling for many hours. With about 50 police officers present, 2 roadblocks were mounted early in the morning. The entire premises were cordoned off. And when they saw that the perversion of justice was not going as planned, when they saw that the perversion of justice was not going as they planned it, the CP led officers to attack us, lawyers, journalists, and even innocent people, including food vendors. Can you imagine? The woman selling food was manhandled. Her table was destroyed. The food was scattered. Showore was bundled violently. People were holding his leg in that vehicle in the course of that. Some of us who ask question, where are you taking him? We are attacked too. The CP showed us paper. He called remand order, but refused to show it to us. We asked if he was taking Showore to prison custody. On what ground? If Showore had not perfected his bail. Prison officers should be there to do that. Why must it be the police? Why must it be you? They refused to answer. Instead, they descended on everybody. I was injured. We were malhandled. Showore cloth was torn. They forced him into vehicle and take off. As we speak, we don't know where he is, but we are still trying to perfect the bail today. Then we want the police to justify whatever reason they have to keep him. This is illegality. This is illegality. It didn't start today, and it is not going to stop. ACSP led more than 50 officers, even a lawyer who came for another matter entirely, was arrested. People were beaten and dragged. That is what the police have done today. They talk about court order. There is a court order now, and today they have come to violate it. You see, the same people that are crying that the court order was not obeyed, the same people who are complaining of court order, but today court order was issued and they violated that court order. You see illegality taken too far. The same people who arrested protesters saying they violated court order, the same people court order was issued, they violated it and they violently took Showore away. Not just to violate a court order, but to desecrate the sanctity of the court premises. It's an embarrassment. We call on Attorney General. Attorney General will not do anything. Is he not the one appointed by Tinubu? They are all in it together. We call on Attorney General because we know this is about Nigerian state. We call on him to act. If Inspector General of Police will not see this and act reasonable, then what hope is left for justice in this country? He added. You see, my brothers, my sisters that are watching, this country they call the zoo is not there for you. This is why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, anybody that call him or herself a Nigerian is lower than a dog. And I say it unapologetically. Unapologetically. You can imagine what that is. The same thing is what they are doing to the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They come to the media, they say a different thing, you go to the court, it's a different situation altogether. They blackmail you with their media. Their media will ask some useless question just to push a narrative against you. This is what I did against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Today, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have taken up his case. And you go to their media, what they are saying today is that the lawyers of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu abandoned him. That is the way the media of Nigeria report. The media in Nigeria are reporting that the lawyers of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dumped him. His legal counsel dumped him. That is the language they use. But this was an agreement which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu called it. They had a meeting and discussed that they have to be excused for some time. But you go to their media, the picture they are painting there is that the legal counsel of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dumped him. An evil entity, evil country. Now the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu today could not be heard because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has not even received his documents from the lawyers. His case file, he has not received them from the lawyers. They have not been able to give it to him. So the case was adjourned to 27th on Monday. So on Monday, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is coming back to the court to defend himself. And he's standing for himself so that he can be able to sue. There are certain things that the lawyers cannot say. There are certain times that the lawyers of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cannot say. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have taken up that challenge to mention names, those people that seem untouchable, that are involved in what is happening, because the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not just a small case. It's not a street fight. This is a fight between Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which represents the Biafra. It's Biafra against the world. Biafra against the world. Even the West are involved in it. If you don't know, you better know it now. The West is fully involved in what you are seeing that is happening. That is why anywhere you are, wherever you find yourself, you must continue to pay attention to what is happening and pray to Chukwu Kabiam to guide and protect our Supreme Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself today have complained and say that the plan of Nigerian government is to make sure that he stays there. They want to keep him sick, and when he falls sick and his health deteriorates, then they can be able to maneuver and do whatever they want to do. That is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, the plan they are making. This is the plan they have, according to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And we cannot underestimate these people. We cannot underestimate what they can do. Nigerian government is a terrorist government, and they can do anything. There is nothing they cannot do. There is nothing Nigerian government cannot do. They can go to any length. They can do anything. They can do any maneuvering. There is nothing they cannot do. You can never ever trust those people. That is why we must be very, very careful. In anything we see, in anything we do, anything we hear, we must be extra careful. Extra careful. Because the battle is not just an easy battle. The battle is not an easy battle. It is a battle that everybody must open their eyes, pay attention, and we fight it together. Every one of us must pay attention, and we fight this battle once and for all and win it. So, my brothers and sisters, I want us to go to this very video now. Let us pay attention now and watch this very commentary. You know, as we are talking, we also bring what is happening in their own media. We bring the conversation that is going on in the media, and we dissect it and hear their own version, because you know we have to hear their version so that we can debunk it. As they use their media to push their lie, we can't keep silent. If we keep silent, that their lie will people begin to see it as the truth. That is why we use their videos to conduct our programs, and when we use their video to conduct our programs, we debunk those things that need to be debunked. So let us listen and hear this report that is coming from Arise TV. Let's hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Express of Umukwata is here. If you out me, I out you. I just don't want you to be traumatized ever in your life. I just give you all the love. No, good morning, Ruby on fire. I'm going to fake what I can't be traumatized. Oh my God. Good morning, guys. I know, nice to see you guys. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. TGIF is both of you, you've been wearing this broke. Please, yes, we were given by Fidelity Bank. It's just for like the month of October, but the girl child breast cancer and all of that. Thank you. Yeah, there it is. I mean, we're symbolic because breast cancer is a very critical issue, especially in Africa where we don't get proper screening on time and the treatment and so forth. So we wear our pink ribbons with pride.
Trust me, all right. In solidarity because it's really a big scourge. Yeah,
all right. Well done. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending, focusing on reactions trailing the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, which is set to commence today, Friday, October 24th. The trial was adjourned on Thursday after Kanu dismissed his entire team of senior advocates. The dramatic courtroom development came as Kanu declared his intention to represent himself. The courtroom was thrown into surprise. Kanu's lead counsel, Kanu Agabi, SAN, subsequently announced his withdrawal alongside other prominent senior advocates. When Justice Omotosho had invited Kanu to open his defense, he began by challenging the court's jurisdiction to continue the trial, but the judge overruled him, insisting that the case must proceed. This dramatic development follows Kanu's earlier notice listing 23 individuals, including high-profile government officials, as witnesses. Meanwhile, shortly after the trial, armed police arrested activist Omoyele Sowore outside the Federal High Court. Sowore had attended the trial of Nnamdi Kanu and was reportedly escorted by security operatives who insisted that they were acting on instructions from the Commissioner of Police.
So you said the Commissioner of Police said you should arrest me?
Yes, we are not
over what?
Bring you to the office.
By force? No, you said that. So why you then have? So we didn't bring a letter of invitation now. That's not your business. When did you start telling people how to wear their clothes? Even though you know what you are doing is bad. So I'm not doing anything. No problem. But you know we had to stand for you when they oppressed you. So if you are standing for oppression, you know the problem. Just for us.
Following Shower's arrest, police spokesman Benjamin Hundeyin held a press conference saying that Shower was arrested for allegedly directing some of the detained Free Nnamdi Kanu protesters to violate a subsisting court order that barred demonstrators from converging in certain areas of Abuja. Let's take a look.
The 13 people that were arrested previously made their statement, and there is a constant in all of their statements. Every one of them mentioned that one Omoyele Shore led them into the restricted area in contravention of the court order. So it will be most unfair to charge some people to court and leave the person that led them to commit that more like their leader, the lead protester who told them and took them into the restricted area. And that's why in the spirit of fair play and to ensure that justice is served, Omoyele Shore was arrested today, and like the others too, he wouldn't spend time with us. He wouldn't spend up to 24 hours with us. Once we wrap up the charges, he's going to be prosecuted. In fact, if everything goes right, our plan is to ensure that he is prosecuted today. He goes to court today.
All right, I'll take some reactions on X. This person wrote, so they suddenly realized their blunder. Arrested KANU'S brother and lawyer, left out the main organizer of the protest. Then remembered, oh right, Shore is an activist. Now it's all damage control disguised as fairness. Classic medicine after death. Well, Saddam wrote, the Nigeria police force acted within its mandate, ensuring fairness, accountability, and balance before the law. No one is above due process, not even activists. If the goal is justice, then the police deserve commendation for maintaining law and order while allowing the legal process take its course. Finally, another ex-user wrote, so now, protesting is gradually becoming a crime. In the Nigerian state, I see that the government is really taking us for granted. What I'm very sure is that a day will come when Nigerians will pull out in millions to say enough is enough. And that's the rhetoric. I mean, it's the fact that the police had come out to bar some certain areas, and now they're saying that Shore led those people that are detained, including Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer and brother. And so that is why they've arrested Shore at this moment. And I haven't seen if they have released him, because as you heard Benjamin Hundeyin yesterday saying that he was going to be charged and hopefully the Ayo, your thoughts on it?
All right. So one of the things that we've decried a number of times is the tolerance of this administration to dissenting voices, and also put that side by the Nigerian citizens' right to peaceful protest. Recall that we'd also said that the court order had been obtained, but some of the protesters, some lawyers there had said that they didn't see any court order. And if indeed there was a court order, they had said there were some specific areas in Abuja that was not supposed to be where protests shouldn't happen. One, Aso Villa, the National Assembly, and a few other places like that. What this demonstrates with regards to Omoyele Shore and the other, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, is that people will then become afraid to exercise their right to peaceful protest. And in a democracy, as we keep on saying, it doesn't look good, it is not right. And we believe that as a true Democrat, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration should not be one whereby there's a lack of respect for the constitutionally guaranteed rights of its citizens. And that's what we're calling for. If they're going to arrest Omoyele Shore, they should arrest everybody that went out to protest, so that we would really say that they're very serious about it. Yeah. But I think it's very important that we keep on speaking up for this. We will not sit and watch whilst the rights of the citizens are eroded. I know that Omoyele Shore will not say this out. And some people have said it's going to cash out because by the time he sues or counter sues for damages, maybe they'll hear. But I think it should be tested in the courts as to the right or the extent of the right of the citizen to protest. We cannot keep silent or keep the people's mouths shut. Like one of the ex-users said, if we do this, there's only as much as can push people to the wall. Let us take the example of how and some other countries where the young people have become so tired and now resorted to violent extremities to send home their points. Let us not get to that point. Let every Nigerian citizen's voice be heard as long as it is done in the right way. They broke no laws, they were not violent. In fact, it was the police that tear gassed them very early in the morning. We mustn't have this on our watch.
I mean, those areas that they talked about, they touched on, including Aso Rock Villa, National Assembly. I don't think that I saw anything because I did monitor the protests. I don't think I saw them in those areas at all. They started from the Hilton and then they were all around. But I wanted to just touch on also the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is going to defend himself. I'll take a post on X and I'll come to you because I know that you want to speak. And this person wrote on X, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has every right to defend himself, but it is often wiser to let a lawyer handle the battle. The courtroom is not a place for emotion, but for skill. And a good lawyer can turn rights into real results. You wanted to add something quickly on that, then I go to Rufai.
Very quickly. My confusion, which I hope the police can clarify for us, is that when the first information report was released for those 13 who were arrested, their offenses included criminal conspiracy, disobedience of a lawful order, inciting disturbance, and disturbance of public peace. However, now, and there was also the issue around singing war cries. But now the main issue for Shore is they're saying that it is contravening the court order. So the concern is that all of their offenses are different. If you get what I mean. So where's the uniformity they're being given the same treatment. However, it's not clear what the real issue is.
I think the real issue is that they came out to protest despite a court order, right? Is that what you were saying?
So what I'm saying is that the others, their main issues were inciting public disturbance and they were singing war songs, right? However, for sure, it's contravening the court order. However, when it came to contravening the court order, the police repelled them. They used tear gas. They say they didn't fire bullets, but they didn't actually get to the place that would allow them to contravene the court order, is the point I was trying to
make. We're talking about due process. At the end of the day, we have to respect court orders. And this is what Shore is fighting for as well. Your thoughts on Nnamdi Kanu defending himself?
Okay, but I'll start with Shore first. But you also have to respect the Constitution. You have a right of peaceful assembly to the Constitution. Let me take you back to 2007, 2008. That was what Gani Fawemi went to court to do in the Buhari case, where it was said, and the Supreme Court said that, please, you do not have any right to stop any protest. You don't even need police permits. So you see this colonial relic called the Nigerian police force, which always thinks force is everything, and makes these allegations against the protesters. I think when you're asking who disrupted public peace, it is the police that disrupted public peace. When they started firing tear gas and causing unnecessary pollution and harm to a lot of people. And the allegations, anyway, he has debunked that he didn't fire live rounds. So if the police are disrupting public peace in this regard, I think we'll see how this case will pan out. So it's not the first time on two cases like this. As regards to Nnamdi Kanu, he has the right to be able to defend himself. If that's the path he's chosen, I don't think it's a wise path anyway. But if that's the path he's chosen, be my guest.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how the case goes. It's going to start today, Friday. And I believe they gave him about 90 days, or he requested for 90 days to close. What a dramatic turn of events. Now, we're continuing our coverage on the recent allegations of Christian genocide in Nigeria. On Thursday, presidential spokesperson Daniel Bwala met with the leadership of the Charismatic Bishop Conference of Nigeria as part of the federal government's ongoing dialogue with religious leaders. The engagement aims to strengthen collaboration with.
Now, before we go into the Christian destiny, you have seen what they said about Shore issue. You have seen their own contribution. And, them that are in media in Nigeria, their own case is always different. They are always scared of their job. They always want to keep their job. And they have limit to what they will say. But I bet you it is very clear that Shore has not committed any crime anywhere. Shore has not. committed any crime. All these things are just orchestrated plan to make sure they create fear. The purpose is to create fear in people. That is when people come and talk about Nepal, Madagascar, this one. The revolution cannot happen in Nigeria until you the only thing that can happen is sectionally individuals. That is the only highest thing can happen. Oduduwa pull out by force. Biafrans pull out by force. Arewa pull out. Middlebelt pull out. That is the highest thing that can happen. Talking about this collective, it cannot happen. The highest thing that happens is that when Biafrans march out, others will see that they are marching out and they will begin to reason that we have a genuine reason. Just like these protests have been. These protests have brought people closer to the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and they begin to see reason. That is one great job that Showore did. The participation of Showore in protests for the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have drawn many people into the case for them to reason in a different form and begin to realize that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is only fighting for his right. And the more they continue to attack Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, attack Showore, they are opening the eyes of the people to show the people that it can be you tomorrow, it can be me tomorrow, it can be anybody. So this protest that Showore went for is a very, very great, it has a very great advantage to draw the sympathy of the people towards the Biafrans, towards Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That at the end of the day, in the future, when we are going to move, when we are going to march to take over our land by fire, by force, you cannot recruit anybody to fight us. It will be difficult to stop. And I pray that that time will come very, very soon. Let us hear their next propaganda on the Christian genocide.
Based institutions and counter what the presidency describes as false narratives of religious persecution in the country. The Charismatic Bishop Conference of Nigeria has membership in over 52 countries worldwide. The meeting follows similar engagements with the Christian Association of Nigeria and the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. Daniel Bwala stated that the engagements became necessary following what he described as a coordinated misinformation campaign by certain U.S. congressmen and international media.
Khan had stated that they believe there is Christian genocide in Nigeria. We didn't go there to change their opinion or to change their position. We had a meeting with BFA. BFA said, we welcome you. Our preliminary position is that of our parent body, and we cannot deviate from them. We did not seek to change the opinion of BFA. So let it not be misconstrued, most respectfully, that our visit is aimed at changing the position that religious bodies have had or have held or are holding. No. Our engagement is so we can deepen dialogue. Our engagement is so we can promote religious tolerance and cohesion. Our engagement is so we can get to synergize a common front against the evil of insecurity in our society.
I think this is such a commendable move by the presidency to deepen that call yesterday. We took the story about Daniel Bwala and Khan actually clarifying their statement, saying that they maintain that they didn't, trivialize the Christian genocide in Nigeria. And it's good to see that they are engaging with all the religious bodies to make sure that they're able to deepen this sort of dialogue and synergy between both of them.
This is going to be my quickest comment.
Go ahead.
What's the essence of deepening dialogue when people are still being killed?
Exactly.
The best way
Good question.
Dialogue is stop the killing.
That's
yes.
what you highlighted yesterday. That is exactly
Simple.
what you said yesterday.
Simple.
I commend the government for now going to engage the Christian leaders. I think it's important. The good thing about
the engagement is fake.
It's actually here.
The engagement is fake. Go and stop the killing.
Listen to the primary stakeholders, and that's what they're doing. Yeah. And that's why I'm glad that finally, and I don't think we should have gone to this point where now that we want to be listed as the country of concern, we now want to go. All the time that the media in Nigeria was reporting these incidents, why didn't they take this effort? Perhaps we would not even be where we are now, trying to lobby the US to say we're not a country of particular concern.
They will be designated.
So great that he's doing this, but most importantly is that can they take the feedback? And I pray that these bishops are going to be honest with them. Yes. Let them, because I can hear them say, oh, all good. Say the truth. Yes. What is really happening to your
very
people?
Good. Don't mind them. All these criminals. Look at them. All of them are criminals, including the bishops. All of them are criminals.
Niger State Governor Umar Bago has declared a state of war against persistent bandit attacks, announcing his administration will not negotiate with criminals or pay ransom, as he believes paying ransom turns kidnapping into a business venture. Instead, he has called on residents to take up arms and defend themselves and their property. The announcement was made by Governor's Special Advisor on Print Media, Aisha.
You see that call again. And a governor is calling the people to pick up arms and defend themselves. You see, they are calling people, governor is calling their people, pick up arms, defend themselves. But when we defend ourselves in Biafra land, they come after us. How do you explain this? A governor now is calling his people to pick up arms and defend themselves. They declare war on bandits in a place where they have government too, but they wouldn't do anything. They push all their military to Biafra land and they're there taking innocent lives. They're there taking innocent lives. 50 policemen to go and arrest Shore. But look at a governor telling the people to pick up arms and protect themselves. When we pick up arms to defend ourselves against terrorists in our land, they say we are committing crime. They say we are violent. They say we are troublesome. Only God will destroy this Nigeria by itself. God will destroy Nigeria, and the destruction have started.
Wakaso, following the governor's condolence visit to the recently attacked local government areas of the state, eliciting reactions. And I'll take some posts on X. This person wrote, Governor Bago, this statement is an admission of failure, not leadership. You are shielded by the full power of the state, the police, the army, the DSS, and civil defense. Yet you tell helpless citizens to defend themselves. Your duty is to protect them, not abandon them. If the government can't guarantee the safety of its people, then it has forfeited its moral right to lead. Do the honorable thing, fix the system, or step aside for someone who will. Tolu wrote, well, every ransom paid fuels a parallel economy for criminals. By refusing to negotiate, the government is cutting off their business model. Now it's on them to actually combat and arrest the bandits. This is it. I mean, the huge conversation about whether or not we should be permitted to arm ourselves or carry guns has been a debate for a while. I mean, in the United States where it's allowed, we've seen, I wouldn't say that's the reason for the killings, but what are your thoughts with what Umabago has stated now about
there's so many different dimensions, yes. I mean, gosh, the first is that he's not the first leader to call for self-help. However, we need to be careful about this narrative around self-help, because when we see self-help happen, we've seen so many instances. For example, there was a group of vigilantes in Edo State. Remember those hunters that were killed? There are several groups that come up and call themselves self-styled vigilantes, and there have been several skirmishes and instances that have happened, and lives have been lost. So I think we need to be very careful in telling people to help themselves in instances of insecurity, because it can go horribly wrong. Having said that, we do know that payment of ransom is illegal in Nigeria. But if we are saying it is illegal, then what is the support we are giving to our citizens to ensure that if these instances happen, that citizens are retrieved alive and in a good state? So first of all, if the kidnapping is said to be happening, then what are we doing to be able to recover and protect our people? But beyond that, the kidnapping should not even be happening. So how are the states being secured? We've said it several times that the governors are not helpless. Fine, they don't have the federal might to be able to discharge officers to the various areas. But what they do have, and I know we often take it lightly, but we can't underplay the role of non-kinetic strategies. For example, we just saw the story you took of Daniel Bola engaging in conversation, deepening engagement and conversation with various stakeholders in the state. I think a lot of that needs to happen, because beyond the narrative of terrorism, banditry, we know that there's a lot of communal clashes and communal conflicts that's happening as well. However, beyond that, I think Farmer Bago, who we love so much, and the rest of the governors of Nigeria need to start getting more creative with regards to how they're going to deal with insecurity in their states. Yesterday, we saw them at the NEC meeting talking about police reform and reform in police training and so forth. But we're not seeing enough pressure with regards to state police, because it seems this is where the conversation needs to go. However, each time it's brought to the agenda, for some strange reason, it's pushed to the back burner. Oh yes, people are worried that governors will become mini emperors and all of that. But at this juncture that we've reached, I think it's far more important for us to protect lives and property first, and then figure out how to strengthen our institutions to ensure that we don't create some form of mini authoritarianism through the creation of state police.
Did you mention the situation in Edo State where there was a young girl who was kidnapped as well? Did you just say that?
No, I mentioned that group of self-proclaimed vigilantes who killed the hunters at the beginning
I
of the
believe
year.
that Umar Bago has said that he's going to, initiate about 10,000 security personnel, and that's a measure that he wants to take. But speaking about insecurity, it's just becoming, and I wanted to mention the Edo State situation because there's a video of the mother who is still pleading for the release of her daughter, and I just wanted to highlight that I am following up on that story, and I believe that the security forces are also doing their best to try to get her out of the really sad situation in Edo State.
Real quick, I disagree with Farmer Bago.
Yes.
What he said
about arms,
yes,
taking up
what
arms.
he said is in contravention of the Constitution.
Yes.
Section 14, subsection 2 says the state must provide security for those that have donated their sovereign to the states. It is the state's responsibility. Yeah. If you say people should arm themselves, then you are abdicating the role of the sovereignty.
All right.
So please, the state should do their work.
Yeah,
that's why we pay taxes, and that's why we do everything we can to submit our sovereignty to the states.
Many have argued that it's another form of chaos if we all have to
it's anarchy, honestly.
I'm American, so it's kind of
America has laws, and that's why we always emphasize respect for the rule of law at all levels, because in a nation where we're still struggling with that, it'll be very difficult to legislate on that. I don't think we're ready for that. Even with their laws, look at everything going wrong with gun violence. As strong as their laws are, look at that.
There's still gun violence in the United States. You're right. Shall we take our good news report now? I always love to do this. Well, the Lagos state government has relaunched an initiative for residents to get paid.
So, my people, you have heard. That is all we have for today. I appreciate every one of you that have listened. We will continue our program as usual tomorrow morning. If you have not yet liked this program, like and share to other people, share to other platforms. We are going to be back tomorrow morning for our normal program. So every one of you that is here, invite your friends for tomorrow morning. That is where we have our full-time program. Evening program is 1 hour or less than that. So I thank you so much for being part of the program. I appreciate you for giving me your time. Hope to see you tomorrow morning by the grace of God. Thank you so much, as I said. Good night, everybody.
Nigeria don't enter one chance, I swear. I go with the go so. Yes, men, they kill us every day for them busy, they campaign again. After they failed all the promises they made, then they praise themselves. Why the masses were supposed to give them the praises we they run to? Move it up. I blame it on the religious leaders. I blame it on the traditional rulers. People were supposed to fight for the people, they don't compromise. Shame on the rebellious brothers. People will cry with us during answers. Today them don't join those oppressors, they eat jollof. Something on the smell. Very soon now we go perceive. We have up where this government they cause my time bomb. It go soon explode. Revolution they come. It's very close at the film. When the power of the people we triumph, the power of the people in power. They don't even care, they don't even send. Say the people they die of hunger. Hungry dog is an angry dog. One day you go bite the owner. Idle man is the devil workshop. Many youths for Naija no good job. And the country the youths got no future. The country is gone, that's on period. Move it up. I blame it on the judiciary leaders. I blame it on the electoral officials. People were supposed to save the nation, but they collected bribe. we supposed to protect the masses. But now them they shoot us anytime they hear our voice.